You're going to start a new project next week, and exactly 14 days later, you will quit. I know this because you've done it with the gym. You've done it with coding. You've done it with that side hustle and the language app on your phone. You probably think it's a discipline problem. You think you're just lazy or flawed or missing that grind set gene. It's not. Your inability to stick to anything is actually a precise, highly optimized biological response. It's a dopamine mismatch. And once you understand the timeline of how your brain processes a new habit, everything makes sense. There's a specific moment, one exact moment where your brain decides whether you'll succeed or give up. We'll get to it, but first, you need to understand why everything you've been doing has been making it worse. Let's break down the 4 stages of quitting. Stage 1 is what I call the false start. This is day 1 to day 3. You watch a motivational video at 2 a.m. You buy the expensive running shoes. You download the specialized Notion template. You feel incredible. But here's the trap. You're not getting dopamine from the work. You're getting a massive hit of dopamine purely from the fantasy of who you're going to become. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagining success and actually achieving it. So it rewards you with the neurochemical equivalent of a lottery win just for buying the shoes. But a fantasy is a terrible fuel source, because by day 4, the novelty wears off. Welcome to stage 2, the action plateau. This is when the actual work begins. You realize that learning to code isn't a cool montage sequence from a movie. It's staring at a syntax error for 3 hours. Going to the gym isn't an instant transformation. It's just sweating in a crowded room and feeling sore the next morning. In stage 2, the massive dopamine spike from the fantasy is gone. Your brain looks around and says, wait, where's the reward? It starts running a subconscious cost-benefit analysis. Cost, high effort, discomfort, time. Benefit, 0 visible results. This leads us directly into stage 3, the rationalization. This is the most dangerous stage, because you never quit by admitting you're quitting. That would hurt your ego. Instead, your highly intelligent brain invents a perfectly logical reason to stop. I'm just too busy with work right now. This workout plan doesn't really fit my body type. I should focus on one thing at a time. It's all a lie. You're quitting with dignity. There was a famous 1950s experiment with rats. Scientists put rats in a bucket of water to see how long they would swim before giving up. The rats swam for about 15 minutes before they stopped and started to sink. But then, the scientists did something bizarre. Right before the rats gave up, the scientists took them out. They dried them off, let them rest, and then they put them right back in the water. How long do you think the rats swam the second time? Another 15 minutes, an hour. They swam for 60 hours. 60 hours. Why? Because the first time, they believed their effort was pointless. The second time, they had hope. They knew that survival was possible if they just kept swimming. Hope isn't a fluffy emotion. It is a biological survival mechanism. When you quit on day 14, you're the rat in the first bucket. You stop because your brain lacks the concrete proof that the effort will lead to a rescue. You don't have the biological hope required to push through the action plateau. So, how do we fix this? How do we engineer hope? Welcome to stage 4, the realignment. To stick to anything, you have to fundamentally change what you are measuring. Right now, you are measuring outcomes. You step on the scale and look at the pounds lost. You look at your bank account and check the side hustle income. Outcomes are lagging indicators. They take weeks or months to move, which means your brain is starving for dopamine in the meantime. Instead, you need to measure inputs. This is the 2-minute rule on steroids. You don't measure the weight loss. You measure the fact that you put your shoes on and walked out the front door. That is the win. You don't measure the app you built. You measure the 15 minutes you spent looking at the code, even if you wrote nothing. You have to trick your brain into releasing dopamine for the act of doing, not the result of doing. When you measure inputs, you win every single day. And when you win every day, the dopamine flows. You become the rat who knows they will be rescued. You build biological hope. Now, let's address the other reason you quit: perfectionism. You have an all-or-nothing mindset. If you miss one day at the gym, the streak is broken. So you figure, why bother? And eat an entire pizza. This is a fatal flaw in your personal operating system. Consistency isn't about never failing. Consistency is about the speed of your recovery. Think of it like a heartbeat monitor. A flat line is dead. A healthy heart goes up and down. If you miss a day, your only job is to not miss two. Never miss twice. That rule alone will change your life because it removes the pressure of perfection. It gives you permission to be human. So, tomorrow, when you start that new project, don't focus on the mountain. Focus entirely on the first step. Measure the input. Forgive the stumbles. And remember that the feeling of wanting to quit isn't a sign that you're broken. It's just stage 2, and now you know how to beat it.